When footsteps fall in eldritch hollows, and spectres flee into the shadows, that is the time when horror's heroes abound, culling the ghouls that go bump in the night.
Hello, everybody, from the heart of Lovecraft country and the birthplace of American religious liberty. My name is SHANTH ENJETI. You're watching SHANTH ENJETI Art. We're going to be doing a little painting today, a little hanging out, a little talking about comics, talking about art. We got some exciting stuff. I don't mean Art Thibert, by the way, although we can always talk about art if you want to. We're going to be talking about a big campaign closeout that's happening tomorrow. That's Inglorious Rex 3 by Shane Davis. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar, I think it's the first link in the description of support independent creators at the bottom. But Inglorious Rex 3 is about ready to close up. That means no more getting Inglorious Rex 3 tomorrow at, I think, about 3 o'clock in the morning. They're going to lock everything out. So if you have not backed it yet, make sure you do. There's a really outstanding new cover that Shane just put up that I think is probably one of his best renditions of Razor. Really awesome stuff, and yeah, things are going crazy right now. Lots to talk about. I want to say thank you to the folks over at Warlock Magazine who put me on their list of books they're excited about and cover art they like and all that kind of thing. So thank you guys. I do appreciate that. Thank you guys for getting the word out and your enthusiasm for Springball and Nosfero and all this exciting stuff. So let's see. Doc Brewski, I don't even know if I could pull that up, but, dear God. Yeah, I mean, people, there's rumors going around, I guess. Mark's Music Obsession, what's up, brother? It's great to see you. Hey, Mark, you should have gotten a tracking number by now. For any of you guys who were at the auction, the auction that we did for original artwork not a couple of weeks ago even, I think it was just over a week ago. You should have tracking numbers by now. Stuff is being sent to you, so hopefully you get that soon, and I can't wait for you guys to get those, so thank you for supporting those. We are past 17K on Springball. I can't even believe it, but I'm going to try to keep my train of thought here so I can say hello to everybody who's here. Cranberry Langers, channel member OG is here. It is great to see you, my friend. We got Zulligan in the house. It is great to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a fine day on this Tuesday, or whatever day it is in your neck of the woods. Mr. Monkey Boy 1969, it is great to see you, my friend. Simply Green in the house. Let me see who else I've got here. If I miss somebody, let me know. If somebody falls down, you pick them up. Let me see. And we've got Doc Brewski in the house I've got. And what is up, sir? How are you doing? It is great to see you. God, that is a creepy profile picture. And I'm trying to remember where it's from. Shoot. Tell me where that's from, if you would, because I can't remember it. So here's what we're doing today. So I've been working on this Nosfero painting here because I'm taking a little break from staring into the computer screen. And I've also been looking at a lot of art, seeing a lot of conversations that are... Red Dwarf! Of course, Red Dwarf. Thank you. That was driving me crazy. So Red Dwarf used to play in the... gosh, I don't know what time, after all the TV stations went off, or it was the last thing that came on. In Chattanooga, and we used to watch that all the time, and it used to crack us up, man. That British humor is great at that hour in the morning. There you have it, man. That's Crichton. There you go. Look at this, guys. One of my all-time favorite sci-fi series, and that's the fun stuff that comes out, man. That's the stuff that you get to see. Green Munchkin, there you have it. I mean, that's the cool stuff that comes out when people aren't paying attention, and people make interesting stuff and write interesting stuff. So I've been kind of hanging around looking at different things. I've been streaming at all hours of the night. Been on a lot of different streams. Been on Shane's stream, on John's stream, and I wanted to get over here and do a stream where I could paint. We could get some up-close time on the artwork that you guys are seeing. Yeah, the family loved Red Dwarf. I binged it. Yeah, it's great stuff, man. It's great stuff. And as I've been kind of looking at stuff and listening to people talk about art, one of the things that has come up over and over again, and people have been talking about, of course, I know you guys know this, and I want to make sure I talk about this from a perspective that is not a just a blanket pro or con kind of thing. But people have been talking a lot about AI art, and they've been talking a lot about traditional versus digital. And since I use traditional media and digital media with almost everything I do, even when this gets scanned, it's going to be brought into Photoshop and Illustrator and all of that kind of stuff. I thought it might be an interesting time to kind of talk about it, because the way I'm seeing it and the way I've been noticing its impact on artwork might be in a way that few people notice. And so I'm going to tie it to something that I do admire the work behind. I do think it's interesting, but I can't help but feel that there's something lost in the process due to kind of the numbing of numbing of our senses to what really makes something aesthetic and what makes something appealing and what makes people get excited about work. So I'm like a lot of people. I'm a huge monster fan. I'm a monster kid. I love the Universal monsters and I love all of that stuff. So I've been watching with a lot of anticipation and excitement what's going on with the opening of Dark Universe, and I was incredibly excited to see that world. And there's some amazing work done on the sets, or I should say on the on the environments and the faux finishes on things. It's absolutely incredible, man. It's beautiful stuff. And but the thing that's been hitting me about it is they've kind of reimagined, as we say, all of the characters in the Universal Monsters world. And so it's been a very stark juxtaposition between what was done in a movie, say like 2024's Nosferatu, and then what has been done in the Universal theme parks. And as people try to kind of talk about artwork who maybe don't have the what's the word I'm looking for? Don't have the eye for having a conversation about it in a meaningful way, and that is sort of a thing. I think that the conversation is getting a little bit lost, because all of the different stuff that you can use anything to get a good effect if you know the effect that you're going for. But what struck me when I was looking at some of the character designs for Dark Universe is I found myself looking at them going, AI could do that. AI could make that character. And what I mean by that is it's the same thing as bad Photoshop concept art. You look at it and it looks like it's generic, anyone could do it. And I cannot sculpt to save my life. I could never teach anybody how to sculpt or what the finer points of sculpture are. For heaven forbid I ever had to. But I can definitely at least appreciate fine sculpting work, though I could not tell somebody how to do it. And what becomes really obvious to me when I'm looking at people trying to do figurative work, and when I see AI trying to do figurative work, is everything is handled in a very similar way. Everything is averaged out. And when if you were to type into Frankenstein's monster into Grok, let's say, for example, you type it in 1,000 times, and unless it already has an image of Boris Karloff, you're not going to come up with that iconic face. And so there's this aspect of the art form that's, in terms of making artwork, that's both knowing what you want, but it's not making it so perfect or so well polished that it loses its soul. And you can do that with traditional, by the way. You could do that with oil painting. You could do that with acrylic. There are tons of artists who wanted to be, the next Frank Frazetta or the next Boris or the next whoever else. And their work, while accurate or while things were in the right place, just doesn't hit the audience. We still don't know what that is. And so I've said from the beginning, when it comes to AI art, if AI wants to get in, or AI artists want to get in on the misery of making aesthetics so that people can, and with the hopes that people will respond to them, the more the merrier. I'm happy to share that. But there's this thing about making artwork that we still can't quite explain. Like, I know when I hear a song, and by the Everly Brothers, I go, wow, that's amazing. Like, how did they, I know they had this instrument, I know what they used, but that's still not going to give you the answer to what makes it work. And so I'm looking for, always, when I'm making artwork for you guys, when I'm doing the stuff I'm doing here with Nosfero or the stuff I'm doing with SPRINGBALL, is that it's not about trying to make sure, that this is exactly right or that's exactly right, because there's right and then there's correct, and there's fact and then there's truth. And when you see something, when you see a great stand-up comic, we all know we're laughing and we see a great comic, we don't say that's so funny, we say that's so true. Well, it's the same thing with when we see artwork. Artwork by Steve Ditko, I can't explain why it's correct. Or Todd McFarlane or Frank Frazetta. There's times when there's an extra set of abs in a Frazetta painting and it just works. So that's been something I've been really thinking about because I want to have that experience as much as anybody else. Simply Green says, generated 8 images, used 4 and circled elements I liked, claws from one, skin from another, eyes from another. Yeah, exactly. It's like you have to kind of have an idea of what you want. AI created art is not copyrightable. 100% right. If you want to create AI art for fun, it's okay. But if you want to own a property and design, you cannot use AI art. It's just going, yes, or it's just going to be public domain. There is no way. There is no way that they haven't thought of that. And the same thing goes with AI music. They're going to let you use those stems for as long as they can, and then they're going to hit you with a copyright. That's what's going to happen. So people find it kind of, strange, where I always would tell people, or students, I would say, when I was teaching, I'd go, if someone asks you if you do digital or traditional artwork, say yes. Be able to do both. And I find just as much fun in a different way when I'm doing the Springball work as I do when I'm doing this. And I have to put in a lot of energy to push past the material. And I would argue, obviously, I think traditional is much harder, period. There's no getting around the fact that doing traditional artwork brings with it a certain amount of complexity that you just can't, there's no equivalent to that in digital artwork. There's just not. And you can add a lot of complexity to it, but it's still not the same thing as the craft of actually dealing with the media. And so once you train your eye to look at the media and you move over to digital, you actually see a lot of artists who are traditional who can learn how to do, if they bother to learn the technology, who can learn how to do digital work and get compelling stuff out of it. But it's because they already have that eye. And that's the thing you're really training. You want to train your hand and you want to train your eye so that you've got the skill set to really make interesting work. And I don't know what that is. I can't give you an answer in terms of how I know it, but I know it when I see it, when something is outstanding. So if someone said to me, who's the best, concept sculptor out there, I'm going to say Simon Lee. If somebody tells me, why is H.P. Lovecraft the best horror writer, in my opinion, period. I could tell you the things I love about it. I can definitely dissect it, but it doesn't mean I can write it. So there's something, I don't know, there's something there that I don't know. I don't think it's something that can be perfected or edited or art directed. It's really strange how that works. It does have a generic tint to it. Yeah, and so does, that's the difficult thing with when you learn a particular way of making artwork that looks like everything else, even if it's oil painting, even if it was the neo-academic tradition in oil painting, a lot of that stuff all looks the same. Now, it takes a ton of skill. I don't think it's the same thing as doing AI art because you're working with media physically. It's really complicated. But the result of why we like one realist painter more than everyone else is this unbelievably hard to describe thing. All the elements are there. They're all the same. Why do you have those couple of chords in this one song and the same chords in this other song, and that one is a classic? I don't know. It's fascinating. And somebody, Shanth wants AI. God, I want AI abs. Yeah, I want it all. Random McGranderson is here. What's up, my friend? Simply Green only. Your handmade contributions are copyrightable in your scenario of taking elements from multiple AI images to generate a new one. No element the AI creates is copyrightable. I believe that 100%. Legkick1 is saying, hail, Shanth Enjeti Art. I was listening to Matt Sarah. Very nice. And Bass Rutan talking on Sarah's channel. Thought I would pop over to say hello. Well, thank you for popping over to say hello. I'm happy to say hello back, Legkick1. It is great to see you, my friend. Let me see here. AI art had generated the S curl on Superman. It wouldn't be copyrightable. Interesting, yeah. Yeah, that's really, that is fascinating, man. Everybody's saying hello to Mark. Let me see here. Hello. Risks and failure, and I'm assuming that Universal Studios doesn't want to risk the possibilities the monsters look funny or stupid. 100%. What's up, Amoral Fat 40 ounce? Shout out to you, my friend. So yeah, so that was the thing I was noticing. So let me reiterate. The stuff that I'm seeing at Dark Universe is unbelievably technically complicated. But I was looking at this main female character they created, and I was looking at their version of the monster, which they own the Boris Karloff Frankenstein. So it seems almost insane not to use it when you own it. However, if you're not going to use it, and if you're going to make something for the next generation, it's not going to be sanding off all of the hard edges. And that was the thing that so impressed me with Nosferatu. When I was watching that movie, I thought, how are you going to make a Nosferatu that deviates from the classic design, which few people have done ever, and still is as compelling? And I will say this, they did it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Robert Eggers one absolutely did it. He made something that was incredibly compelling. But I feel as though what I saw at the Dark Universe at Universal Studios' new theme park, their Dracula felt a little bit like Twilight, for lack of a better way of putting it. It felt very generic, and the monster felt like a Halloween costume, Frankenstein's monster, and that was weird to see. And I because I know there's so much engineering and so much incredible stuff, but if the face that's in front of the engineering that's moving doesn't have any character to it, then it just kind of falls flat. Then you get that people use uncanny valley. I'm just trying to think of what it is. It just doesn't have any teeth. It just doesn't catch you. You just kind of see the image and slide off of it and move on to the next one. So what is that character? I just don't know. And how do you bring that to your stuff? That's what we're dealing with. That's what art is. Oh, I see what you mean. It's the sort of thing instead of doing as a $2 digital comic, where basically paying for the story, not the art. I got you. Let me see. Someone could stick an image of your comic into a t-shirt. Yeah, well, I mean, there's certainly that. Yes, agreed, Cranberry Langers. But I think the craziest thing about it is, and the thing that makes the whole aspect of doing these two very different but somewhat similar books at the same time, is what is that riddle we're all trying to solve. I don't know that I understand why, and I think the first time I actually saw this happen was when I started posting my stuff on Instagram. Very quickly, when I was working, as a college teacher, I hadn't, put a website up or anything like that in ages. So I got this really great experience of putting my work up, no context, nobody knows who the heck I am, and I'm not, over promoting it. And I got to see, before Meta bought it, the algorithm was just, you could actually get your work found online. And very quickly, and this led to the first two art books, I was able to build an audience, which means out of all of those pages of images that were on Instagram at the time, people would see the stuff I was doing and stop on it, and that was really odd to me. Because that was not my plan. My plan wasn't, well, I'm going to grow an Instagram audience, because that would have been ludicrous for me to even consider doing. I don't know how you would even target that. And very quickly, I was able to build an audience because there was some reason why people stop on your artwork. And I'm not saying it from a standpoint of, I don't know how to describe it, but there's this fallacy of control, the idea in arts that you can sit down and you can will yourself to make something that people find appealing. You guys know this, is that it's where preparation meets opportunity. It's that kind of luck. But I had no idea what was going to happen with Springball at all. Like, I didn't know how people were going to react to it. I blame Rocky, who may still be in the chat. But he showed it, and people go, we want to have this thing happen. And like, we're curious, like, where is this going to go? And that's one of those miracles. If you sat down and said to me, without ever seeing Boris Karloff's Frankenstein, Shanth, I want you to create the monster, and I read the book, I'm not creating that, because that doesn't look like what's described in the book. It works in the book, but for some reason, Boris Karloff, 1931, in Jack Pierce's incredible makeup, just hits people a certain way. It's lightning in a bottle. And, in a lot of ways, I think Comicsgate is lightning in a bottle. And when I see fellow creators and artists in Comicsgate, create something and people respond to it, it's still a mystery. It's still one of the most incredible mysteries of making artwork, is the way that people react to things. And I wish I could think of a simple way to do that, but all I can say is, when I'm collecting artwork and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do and what kind of stuff inspires me, like I was showing this the other night. If you look behind me, you can see this deck that is an old Santa Cruz Rob Roscop deck that's the face of this kind of creepy character, this creepy guy, very very 80s, very James Groman, very Rat Rods, that kind of thing. And it's got this really wild look to it. And when I look at that thing, then Jason Edmonston, who's an amazing horror artist and painter, when he went and he got hired by them to do a remastering of it, the thing that was so cool about it was he captured the essence of it while bringing his own thing, and that's got to be really, really hard, man. And so, yeah, I'm always amazed, man. I'm always amazed at what people gravitate to, and even what I gravitate to. I'm saying uncanny, unreal, Rocky, except for your opinion, is Shadow Cat and allergies. There you go. Fair, Cranberry Lancers. Joe Balls, die. I don't think he's very good at drawing, but his composition is so strong, it still appeals to me enough that I ordered it. Interesting. Let me see. When you're making art and you sit down and you put your intuition, effort, luck, and divine inspiration onto the media in front of you, and if it's what appeals to you and people that appeals to people, they'll stop. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's that moment when people stop because, it's so crazy because we've been talking about Frank Miller. We've been talking about a lot of different artists, and people probably were driven crazy by Frank Miller when he would draw this crazy anatomy that's gotten even crazier as time has gone on. But Sin City, for whatever reason, right artist, right style, right storytelling, The Dark Knight Returns, the exact same thing. And I know that Rocky Ballesteros in the chat right there, let's be really clear, is going to be doing a Frank Miller, or is doing a Frank Miller master copy coming up. So if you are not subscribed to his channel, make sure that you are subscribed. And yeah, let's not forget there are some interesting projects out there. And Rocky is saying, check out Nosfero, the Crypt Walker, the art and second edition. So, Tammy, what's up? How are you doing, channel member Tammy? It's great to see you. So here's some interesting things for folks in the chat about Nosfero, by the way. I'm not saying I'm going to do this. I'm still like 50-50. Actually, I don't even know if I want to say that. One of the things I've been pondering or considering as I work on this piece and have been thinking about, I know where it's going to go in the book and all that kind of stuff. But part of me is honestly considering the possibility of having this be also, and I don't know. I don't want to say that because then people are going to be expecting it. We'll just leave it there. I'll be a tease. I apologize. Apologize for being a tease. But yeah, it's interesting, as I've been working on Springball and writing it and painting it at the same time, like all of it is happening on one, in one process with different layers. Sometimes I'll work on the lettering and the script and the art, and I just move back and forth, or the colors, and then I'll do some line work detailing. The thing I like about comics the most, and the thing I'm enjoying about doing this, is making the books. So it's the whole process. It's the whole process. Oh my gosh. Hi, Rocky. Hello. This is Michael Bancroft. Rocky Ballesteros. Hi, Tammy D. Let's see here. Who else? Ditto says Simply Green, but I don't know what the Ditto is to. Cranberry Langers. There we go. Or Langers. God dang it, Cranberry Langers. How am I saying it wrong after all this time? But I don't know what that thing is. And it's informed. It's definitely informed. Oh God, I'm painting off frame. Sorry about that, guys. It's definitely informed, speaking of aesthetics, is definitely informed what I do. It's definitely informed, looking at a lot of artwork. But I think that taste thing is just something you have to be open to. Sometimes you'll do something and it wasn't in your plan where it was going to go, but it's got to go there because an audience of people say that they like it. I had no idea what the reaction was going to be to Nosfero or to Springball. And Nosfero has gone some places I did not originally plan on it going, just because of the dynamic atmosphere we create in Comicsgate, man. It's wild. It's a really wild place. And I don't think I would have come up with this character before this particular time and with this particular audience. And that's what I would encourage everybody, that the fun thing about this space and the fun thing about what we're doing is you can find stuff that you're into, and you can also, you can also push yourself as a creator to try to make something that people are interested in, and you get this really great, trial and error process. And I just feel, excuse me, I was laughing too hard last night. I just feel like I'm incredibly fortunate to be, that's not going to do any good. Sorry, folks at home. I should have muted. My bad. I'm not exactly sure why things happen the way they happen, but I will tell you I am incredibly amazed that they do. So last night when I was, or this morning, let's call it what it was. This morning when I was on John's channel, Shane and I were showing work from our youth, from when we were younger, and I showed this comic book that Rocky knows well, because Rocky knew me when I received that in the mail from my folks back home. And it was Threshers. And Shane goes, let me see the cover to that book. And I was like, okay. And he's like, oh my God, I saw that book in my comic shop when it came out in 1994. And it just blew my mind. And he's like, and I was looking at places I could send my work to for jobs. And yeah, I totally have a Kermit in my throat. And that was just insane to me. You have your copy of Threshers going way back. Yeah, what is a Ute? 100%. Yeah, that's what it was where I was growing up, in me Ute. But yeah, it was such a strange thing, because I've had all of these weird, Comicsgate, crossings where you go, oh, I saw your stuff before I knew you. And that is definitely one of the wilder ones, because I don't think that comic book was a lot of places. I don't know how many orders they got of that book, but you couldn't find that in Tennessee when I was when it was published. I think the only reason I had a copy of it was because they sent me comp copies. So they had like several versions. One had like a gold like lettering, one had a silver lettering, and I think I used to have those, but I don't have them anymore because of being a guy and moving a lot. And yeah, it's wild. I think that, it's so weird that you put stuff out there, and when you're making work, you put stuff out there and you just never know how it's going to hit. And when I look at work and I like work and I'm drawn into it, I don't know how to describe why that is. So, and just so this doesn't sound like I'm talking about my stuff, because I honestly, it's much more of an athletic process. Like I have to do it in order to see it, or I have to just kind of do it. I don't know how to describe it. But when I'm looking at other people's work, I can tell you exactly why I like it and why I respond to it. And I don't necessarily know why, but there was this, there are these two covers for John's last campaign. I think it was his last campaign or the campaign before it. Everything's a blur right now. And it were these two covers that go together. And I looked at it, and I remember when I first saw it, the first thought that I had was, this is the closest anybody's ever come to a modern, what would be the next step of Rob Liefeld stuff. And I know John likes Rob Liefeld, but a lot of people like Rob Liefeld. And it's becoming hipper every now and again. And but I looked at that stuff and I'm like, how the hell, like, what is it about that? Couldn't tell you, because I've looked at Rob's stuff and tried to figure it out, and I still couldn't tell you what it is about that. But it was just this very particular way in which he did the line work and the characters. It was the covers. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was the two covers where on one half there was Black Riding Hood, small on the cover. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it was really, really cool stuff. Past Master Dan is in the house saying ahoy Bancroft, and he's saying, hey, Mark's Music Obsession. Sup, Sark? Where's Sark? Damn it, Sark. Hola, how are you doing, Sark? I feel like I haven't seen that cube in a minute. It's great to see you, man. But it's my buddy Zach, who was the guy who got me to my first comic store, run by, does Sark not have a wrench? That's weird. Huh. Does he not? That is a weird thing. Use it very responsibly, as you know, Sark. There you go. Let's sort that out then. It's a fascinating thing, because my buddy, who is not an artist, and he likes art. He collected my artwork when we were like 12 and 14. He would like actually pay me if he had money to do artwork. Hey, what's up, Katie Did's channel? How are you doing? Speaking of people, I'm gonna wrench. Let me get you wrenched here. This was the thing that was really wild about it, is my first comic I did when I was 14, I put, he was one of the dedications in it. But he was the guy who introduced me to Todd McFarlane. He was the guy who introduced me to Tim Vigil. He had this way of, like, he just knew what he liked, and what he liked tended to be popular. So he's like, oh man, there's this D&D artist I really like, and he's doing this new D&D thing called Dark Sun. And I'm looking at this artwork, and I'm like, it's really, really cool. And the artist was an artist that some of you guys may know, named Brahm. So I don't know if you guys know Brahm's art, but Brahm was the guy who was doing this stuff. And I'm like, how did this guy I know and I used to knock around with and hang out with in Chattanooga, going to comic shops, and he introduced me to Todd McFarlane's Hulk. Like, how was this dude always... Because if it's something that hits people, it's like, it's obvious. And I don't know what that is. And I think that's why the Springball stuff is really weird to me. Because there were a lot of people who liked it back then, but there was no way to get it support like there is now. And looking at us cross over 17K has been amazing, man. Arthritis time. Smoke if you got them. So yeah, what I was looking at all these paintings, right, that were in Dark Universe. And one of the things that got me about it was, I kept thinking about, and you guys may know his stuff, Basil Gogos. So Basil Gogos is a huge, huge inspiration on me. I love his color sense, but his color sense is insane. He does stuff that I really like to do. He likes to drop insane colors together and just kind of hope it works out, you know? The guy who passed away just a couple of years ago, he's a very much a... God, I had a Basil Gogos book here too, which I'm wondering if I can find it. Let me see. Because I'm looking for it, I won't find it. Wait, is that it right there? Oh, correction. All right. Here's an influence for me, and I want somebody to explain this for me, okay? I want answers. I want answers. And I'm sure you could plug this guy's name into AI and say, give me a Basil Gogos version of this, and maybe the AI will know. Maybe it could be trained to know. But I don't know what made him do this. So here's Basil Gogos. You'll know his stuff. It's very, very famous horror stuff. What's up, J-Bot? Man, long time no see. How are you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Hold on a second. Let me scroll. Damn, I'm way behind. The chat's not moving on this thing. I love that, man. I love that. That is awesome. Oh, that's sweet, dude. I love that profile pic, man. Mighty Bot Studios. This stuff. Do you guys know this stuff? He did all the covers for Famous Monsters of Filmland. He did, he's like the quintessential Universal monster illustrator. And his color palette was freaking insane. The things he would do with the color. Do you guys see what I mean? So, why does that work? These movies were in black and white. Do you know what I mean? These movies were in black and white. Why is this, if you're going to have a color palette for these things, why is the color palette going to be this? You know? Oh, whoops, hang on. Did I just bump the... Sorry about that. I bumped the camera. Why is the color palette going to be this? This makes no sense to me at all. Why is the color palette going to be this? Who paints a red shirt on an orange background? Answer. Basil Gogos. Period. Do you guys get what I mean? Someone explain this to me. I don't... He's just like, yeah, that's how it's... You know, what is that line from Star Trek, The Search for Spock? When he's like, you know, we'll die or something like that. He's like, then that's the way it's got to be, said Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, that stuff is nuts. Look at his King Kong. One of the more famous monsters of Filmland. What makes a person do this? I don't know. You know? Yeah, seriously, these are the most interesting contrasts. When I used to have students, when I teach students to do master copies to understand painting with color, I used to assign a Basil Gogos assignment because I go, if you try, you're going to have to use color to make this work or it'll look terrible. And, you know, it's just unforgiving. Look at this. Now, he's being inspired by the lighting of folks like Jack Asher, I'm sure, and a lot of the horror movie magazines that were inspired by Jack Asher. But these colors, this is Ingrid Pitt. Actually, this is the first time I've realized that this is a painting of Ingrid Pitt. Look at this. That is so good, man. So here's the crazy thing. Ingrid Pitt, for those of you guys who have backed Nosfero or have backed the new campaign, thank you so much. Ingrid Pitt was my inspiration, if I can find her. Ingrid Pitt was my inspiration for Lascivia in Nosfero. So that that tiny little painting on mine is inspired by the actress that Basil Gogos is painting here. So what a trip, man. How good is this stuff? And he's cartooning her too. Like, look at this pencil sketch he did. He's really pushing it and making it cartoony, but look at this stuff, guys. This is barking, and here he does a red palette with a green-orange, and that makes sense complementary color-wise. But why does it suddenly go into monochromatic purple? This stuff is insane. Okay, Mark's music. Excuse me, sorry guys. I laughed so hard last night, my voice is gone. What book? Or this morning? What book is this again, Sean? So this is famous monster movie art of famous monster movie art of Basil Gogos. And so this book right here, you can get it in a hardcover or a soft cover. But okay, so now you look at Basil Gogos, and then you come over to looking at my stuff, right? Now, my colors are not nearly as crazy or as amazing as Basil Gogos' stuff. What's up, Gen X Catholic? My man, how are you doing? Hey, I heard that... You got me. You got me. If I had the ability to read in my head, it would save me so many of these moments, man. All right, all right, fine. I'll do it. I'll read it aloud because it's for my growth, right? Hey, I heard that a top Warlock artist was on this channel. That is certainly true. And again, thank you to those guys. Thank you to all of you guys for just being excited about the stuff and for finally being in a place to where, I don't know, man, Comicsgate it's like, God, you know, the tough thing about saying things like what I'm about to say is that, I've definitely felt this before in terms of when I was teaching. I thought, man, I love teaching. I love helping people. I love being here, but it's a two-way street. And I think that one of the things about Comicsgate that's been really kind of amazing to me is the more that I've been here, which has been like, what, 5 or 6 years now, unlike, you know, when I'm in education and when I was teaching, the more I feel like I kind of know where I'm at, and I think I kind of understand, and I see work that I admire more, which is great, you know. And so I definitely think it was one of those weird things where I said to my wife this morning, "You're never gonna believe this. What's up, Lloyd? How are you doing, brother? It's great to see you." Yes, Prism color palette, 100%. And I said, I said, "Do you want to hear something crazy, babe?" And she said, "What?" I said, Shane Davis actually bought Threshers, or not bought, I'm sorry, he saw it. I don't know if he bought it, but he saw it at a comic shop when he was younger. So I was in one state doing what I do and moving towards comics. He was in another state or place doing what he was doing. And at some point, you know, he saw my work without knowing we were going to meet at some point. I was just some random artist nobody knew working on an independent book. And then Andy Smith did the cover on it. And I go, there's so many weird things like that. Did he say he bought it? The All-Seeing Ian? Did he really? That's crazy if that's true, but it was so strange, and it's great to see you, my friend. Welcome. And I've had Dan Lawless delivered newspapers to my house when he had a paper route, and I was like 6 or 7 or 5 maybe. There is weird stuff that happens. Yeah, Shane is always in another state, says Past Master Dan. Well, I guess we have that in common, man. I guess we have that in common. But, you know, it's fun because when you're with people who are excited about art and excited about these kinds of things, like all of you guys, you know movies. I can bring up Ingrid Pitt and 50% of the chat's going to know who she is and what she's about. And it's when I'm doing Springball and I'm doing the colors on Springball, one of the things I've been really thinking about a lot is I gotta push this software and this painting I'm doing as far as I can And I really want to have some moments of Basil Gogos, some moments where Springball feels like it's like almost traditional animation, but with just a crazy amount of detail, if that makes sense. Ink on paper, hail to you, my friend. Yes, it was kind of an amazing coincidence. I mean, nobody, like, I don't know how many copies of that book there were, but there weren't any in Chattanooga that I'm aware of. It was not some wildly big thing. If I hadn't gotten comps, I don't think I would have had a copy of it. So it's really weird. I've done other things that have been out there a lot more than that. So that was surreal. That he remembered it. I don't know if I would have remembered seeing it if I hadn't done it. You know, I don't, because the comic shelves, man, there was some crazy stuff on the shelves back then, some amazing stuff, and there was a lot of independent stuff being put out, which I'm sure you guys remember really well. So yeah, I mean, it's I'm very glad that people are into monsters, into craziness, into Lovecraft, and into the stuff that I'm doing with Springball and Nosfero. And guys, if you've backed Springball and you haven't backed Nosfero, man, back Nosfero. And if you've backed Nosfero and you haven't backed Springball yet, back Springball, because those things are two sides of the same coin, and they're different, but they're both me, and you'll get a much fuller picture of how I work, because Springball is not a reprint. It is a complete from the ground up rework, and I just feel like when it comes to these things, there's a weird electricity around it that I don't understand, and it's, you know, as I like to tell people, it's not my plan, it's somebody else's plan. I'm just showing up, working, and doing all of the stuff. And Springball has just got that vibe to it. It's just got this sense of play. I think that one of the worst things habits that I've gotten into is, you know, at various points in my youth when I was trying to figure out art, was to try to force it. And you have to get up every day to get the work done. You have to force yourself to work. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about trying to have all the answers instead of just working and letting the answers present themselves as they do, because they're a natural product of the hard work we do. And that was really tough for me, because I'm like, I don't need to find my style. Are you doing any cons in the future, Shanth? You know what's funny? Mrs. Enjetti was talking to me about that the other day, because she was saying, you know, there's all these conventions that are near here. So there's this channel that I love to watch, and it's oh god, what's it called? It's called Detours, and it's this guy named Derek Millen, and it's DEREKMILLEN. And Derek Millen lives in the Boston area, and so he goes to Salem throughout the Halloween season, and he does a lot of cool stuff around, and he goes to all these conventions. So by watching his channel, I've been learning about all these conventions I'd never even heard of. And of course, there's Rhode Island Comic Con, there's Necronomicon, the H.P. Lovecraft convention. I don't know how often that happens and if it's still happening. But yeah, I think I might go to some. I really want to go to, if I go to a convention, I'd love to go to a convention with the missus and kind of meet up with some of these people that I've only know online. You know, I'd love to. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like we're all kind of introverts, but it'd be fun to kind of, you know, meet up with Shane and John and say hello and you know, and do whatever. They seem very low impact in terms of not needing to hang out constantly, because I'm an introvert, and I'd love to meet all you guys. That I'm totally excited about, because, you know, I know it's wild, but I know people like to get sketches and get things signed in person, and that's really cool. And so, yeah, if I can make that happen, I want to do it. Oh, wow, cool. Creature Commandos. Cindy Joe says, check it out on X. It's good to see you, Cindy. How are you doing? And hello, everybody on X. Headless Bourgeoisie, how are you doing, my friend? I love that close-up. You know what's weird about that close-up? Every time I see it, for some reason, the eye and the bottom eyelid look like a face. And sometimes, occasionally, I'll see a little cartoony face with two blue eyes in there. I don't know why. Any life-sized Springball Bean statues? No, not yet. But if you need it, we'll make it happen. Spring rolls are delicious. Yes, they are. That is for sure. Mark's Music Obsession. Yeah, Pensacon, Shanth. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I know the missus is always down for a trip to the Panhandle. She loves the Panhandle. No doubt about it. That's actually where I proposed to her. Was in the Panhandle near Destin. I think that's what it was. I don't know what the closest towns are. But Yep. I proposed to her actually in a small little place called Seaside, and there's a street called Pensacola Street, believe it or not. And so yeah, I actually proposed to her. I think at the end of that. Well, was it the end of that street? No, it wasn't the end of the street. It was the end of the next one over, the next street over. But that's where I went to go meet her parents for the first time. Amazing people. There we go. Look at this stuff, man. This is crazy detailed. So everything you're seeing happening here, is everything you're seeing happening here is something that's going to be happening in the digital version too, because I can't stop myself from making detailed stuff. I mean, that's the stuff I love. Bruce Campbell's chin. Bruce, you were there. You were there. I don't know if you remember this. When I was pitching Springball and I was saying, I just came up with this the other day. It felt like it was utterly fortuitous, which was, Springball is Spider-Man meets the Evil Dead. And you popped in right as I was about to say that. And I go, this is just weird. And I'm just kind of curious to see, I don't know what this is all about. With your video square blocking the image, looks like you have a Cecil. That's right. That's right. Oh my God, man. Yeah. Holy Lord, that is a trip. Yeah. Oh my God. Doing stuff for Cecil has been really fun. He is like, it was really, that was one of the harder trailers to put together. There's been a couple trailers that have been tricky. So if I do a trailer for Ethan and he's giving me a prompt, which was the which one was it? I think it was a Dark Harvest trailer he gave me a prompt for. He gives, you do remember Bruce Campbell's chin. Awesome. He gave me, Seaside is 35 to 40 minutes away from me. There you go, Mark. So you are in the Panhandle. Awesome, man. So yeah, I mean, it was incredible. It was like how like this stuff kind of comes together. And how we kind of find things. And if I hadn't been closing out the first Nosfero campaign, and Rocky, you know who you are, Rock. The guy I met freshman year of college when I was coming up from the mailroom with a package that had my address on it, so he knew I was from the same town he had just moved to. And it may have even had threshers in it for all I know. Like, it gets creepy, man. This space gets really... really creepy, man. Comics Gate's weird in that sense, and it's wonderful in that sense, too. So, Mark, are you with us, Mark? Give me a hello in the chat if you're with us. I think you are. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you're telling my secrets. Awesome one. That's right. All the secrets are coming out, Mark. Okay, Mark. So, Mac. Are you there, Mark? As we say in New England. Mac. So, Mark. Mac. There he is. He's there. Do you did you get your tracking number for your sketch? Let me know if you got your tracking number for the head sketch you bought at the auction. Sorry, these aren't the sketches for the Nosfero campaign, which, by the way, if you want to buy one of those, that's the only other way to get a head sketch. You pick your monster, whatever fickles your tansy. If you want a Nosfero head, or if you want that's on the Nosfero campaign. So if you want an original painting there, go for it. I don't do a lot of commissions, because I'm usually busy with all of this stuff. I do commissions for special people. Some who are just in the chat can sometimes get a canvas commission from me, and that's a blast. That painting's going to be killer, man. Like, speaking of Basil Gogos, I'm having fun with the color on that painting. That thing is going to be just glowing, man. I can't wait. But, Mark, let me know if you got the tracking number sent to you via PayPal for the thing. Let me see. I did. There you go. I did. Cannot wait. Let me see here. No. I did. Can't wait to get the Eddie. You already know what I want one of my head sketches to be. Absolutely. So, Mark, Mac, listen, my friend. For those of you guys who don't know the SHANTH ENJETI art is kind of crazy. By the way, welcome, guys. Thank you. Hit like. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. But bigger than that, guys, if you're just meeting me, I've been in Comicsgate now, back in books and doing this for, God, I don't know how long, since CYBERFROG's, Blood Honey, I think it was, first printing with the chromium cover, and actually before that even launched, when Ethan was doing all the Star Wars stuff, is kind of how I found it. And it's just been incredible to kind of watch things happen over the last couple of years. but I've worked in the industry and done some stuff for, DreamWorks Consumer Products and Hasbro concept art, Mattel stuff, some Harry Potter trading card, border design stuff I did when I just got out of school, and some comics. And it's great to meet you guys, and thank you for backing Springball, and thank you for checking out the channel. I really do appreciate you guys. But Mark, so here's some backstory. So Mark found out about me and found out about my work right after I had closed the first Nosfero campaign. And the thing that was wild about that was that, so he just missed backing Nosfero. So the second that campaign closed, Mark was like, when are you going to do a second chance campaign? I'm like, Mark, I just closed. Mark, come on, Mark. Hello, Rock Crin, channel member. Welcome, man. It's great to see you. I said, Mark, I just closed the campaign. I don't think I'm going to do a second chance for a little while. So he was waiting for that second chance campaign of Nosfero, right? So he's waiting for that, man. And I launch it, and Mark, of course, was like, I am backing the biggest tier. I want everything you've ever done, and I'm excited about that. But he has been patiently waiting because I'm closing the second chance campaign once the Springball campaign closes its 60 days. I'm going to be closing Nosfero out after that. And so Mark has been waiting patiently for Nosfero. So when you backed, when you won the bid for the Iron Maiden mummy, it's not going to count towards the big, package that you backed. That sounded, for the big perk tier that you backed, it's not going to count towards that. So it's not going to be anything that counts towards that. But I sent you a reader copy of Nosfero. So I sent you a copy for you to read, just to enjoy. So there's going to be a copy of Nosfero coming to you with that painting, so that you don't have to wait too much longer to read the story and be able to talk about it. So that's something I want to do for you, because I know that it was a rocky end of the year. A lot of changes, a lot of tough stuff, and I just thought, you know what, and even Mrs. Enjetti was like, we got to send Mark a copy. So there you go, man. And thank you for your support. And like I said, let's make 2025, let's make it a great year. I know it was a tough close to 2024. So yeah, we were happy to send that to you, and we know it's going to make it fun. So enjoy, read it, feel free to just not worry about what condition it's in. It's your reader copy, because it's not going to count towards any of the other stuff. All right. We have it. So there you go. Rocky Ballesteros is a liar. Known it for years. You're very welcome, Mark. You're very welcome, man. Yeah, we're guys, I feel like I'm getting my second wind. If you go back on this channel and you look at when I launched the first Nosfero campaign, and Mrs. Enjetti talks about it in the introduction to Nosfero, I was streaming. I was doing all these shows. Day and night blurred together, which they still kind of do, but I was streaming like crazy. And then it was just, I hit this point, the saturation point, where I'm like, I need to fulfill, Nosfero. My kids were going off to school. Like, we had all these crazy life changes that were going on. And I just keep saying to myself, I've got to get that second wind going. And I think right now, I'm feeling it. The excitement about Springball has really been a shot in the arm for me, in terms of just getting more energy for this stuff. And everybody's been so excited. Lloyd Burton, what's up? Oh, jeez. What is this? Is this an intervention, Lloyd? Lloyd, I cannot wait to send you your painting, man. When I get, because what I'm doing with the colors and the glazing on it, stuff like that, I could take 1 million photos of these things, but it's not going to do which is the hope, right? It's not going to do justice to having the original. It's going to be sick, because the colors just start to vibrate at a certain point. I mean, you know this because you own one of my originals. You own actually one of my favorite head sketches I've ever done, Lloyd. Like, that one, hands down, one of my favorite head sketches I've ever done. It was just one of those, who knows? Again, we were talking about this at the start of the stream. Who knows what creates that stuff? Sometimes, you get visited by the muse, and you found the right technique or the right, method of doing things. But, even this character, for those of you guys who haven't backed Nosfero, if you want to know a little bit about this character, this came out of conversations in the chat. I was creating a character for Nosfero where he was going to be this the basically he's Dracula to vampires. Like he's the vampire hunter who they fear, coming after them. And I was going to have this werewolf character that was kind of this quirky sort of Igor-like character. So it was going to be like his little sidekick. And through people in the chat saying, I'd really like to see more positive father figures in stories and all of this stuff, not only did it lead to a change in this character, but it led to my two favorite character moments and interactions in the story of Nosfero the Crypt Walker. So that's the kind of stuff that is unexpected that you can never know. And that's the stuff that I'm the most grateful to. Everyone I show the bride sketch to is just amazed. Okay, so guys, let's talk a little bit about some of the positive, cool things. And if you don't know this guy's stuff, go subscribe to his Instagram. I think he's somewhat active on there. He's a terrific dude. Okay, so when you get Nosfero, and if you got Nosfero, you're gonna see a lot of people's names get a little tip of the cap in the back of the book. And one of the people in there is a friend of mine who's a former student of mine, and I'm so old. As Bob Ross used to say, I'm old as dirt. But the thing about him is that he's a concept artist, he's a former student, and he's also, now he's old as dirt too, hired me and been my art director. And I know I told you guys a kind of a bummer of a story of a former student of mine just out of the blue sending me a message basically like, enjoy Comicsgate, jerk. And I was like, oh, thanks. Thanks for that. Not Howard the Family. Well, this former student of mine, Cameron Davis, who's had his own statue line of DC characters at Sideshow Collectibles, worked as a concept artist for Sideshow. He's worked for DreamWorks. He did so much of the concept art for Guitar Hero, the early Guitar Hero. I think it was the second Guitar Hero, and then on. Incredible talent and artist. So he finds out I'm doing Springball. Now, he had me as a student, so Springball was just a part of the lore. I started teaching college. Let's see, I got married in 2000, and then I started teaching college, I think, in 2003, if that makes sense. So he knew about Springball because Springball was something I had recently done when I taught him. And he goes, man, listen, Mark, we're all old as dirt together, man. Listen, this is a brotherhood. You know that, man. And the thing about it that was so crazy is he goes, dude, I had no idea. He sent me a text. He goes, I just saw that you're doing something with Springball. I need to know about it. And I said, you have time for a call, man? So he gave me a call, and we talked for 3 hours. Yeah, same age, dirt remains dirt. That's right. We're all in this together. That's right. We will. What is it? We'll hang together, or surely we will hang separately. And we talked for like 3 hours, and it was such a reminder of what I love about meeting artists and having conversations with them. And I think I sent a text to Eric Weathers after I had that conversation, and I said, it is tough to find artist friends where there's no ego, there's no BS and petty little junk there, where you just are excited for each other's successes and you talk with each other one-to-one and all that other kind of stuff. And Cameron, I've been friends with Cameron since I had him as a student. I want to say he graduated in 2005, I think, maybe. I don't think it was 2004. That'd be creepy, but I think it was 2005. So I've known him for 20 years now. And this is the thing that I love about meeting people, and I didn't know he was going to be some big concept artist when I was teaching him character design stuff. He did a Noman workshop video on character design. Like, this dude is, he's a rock star, and he designed rock stars for Guitar Hero. So he's just a good dude, man. He's just a good dude. He's one of those folks that, who's on the West Coast who I'm giving a call to, when the fires were completely out of control and all that stuff, because you worry about people that you get to know over time, man. And he's just very real. And one of the things that is just so crazy to me about it is I've known him now for 20 years, and when I had him as a student, he was quiet, which he was surprised by, the entire semester. And then every time I critiqued his stuff and went around to it, I am with everybody. Towards the tail end, I stopped critiquing hard, because whenever you gave a hard, like, and then I was like more or less done teaching at that point. Because whenever you give somebody an honest critique, you would get a call from administrators of the department chair. I mean, it literally was just beating that out of you. And it was so disappointing to watch that kind of stuff happen. But I used to just be real with people, which is why the classes were popular. But at the every semester or every time he brought in an assignment, I'd go, I think you need to try this. I think you need to do this. Try this, try this, try this. No idea. Thank God I don't think this way. But what he was thinking, or what was going on in his head, or whatever else, I was just trying to do my job. And when we got to the end of the semester review, I've told him this story before because it was so funny. Got to the end of semester review, he's just sitting there, and I'm sitting there. We got his work is all posted up on the wall, his semester's work, and I'm like, whenever I'm not exactly sure how to start a conversation, which may surprise some, I tend to kind of say, oh, let's err on the side of listening. I'm curious to see what he makes of this work, because I'm looking at it and I see some interesting things, but I'm curious if he sees a through line or what there is. And Cameron, he could have knocked me over with a feather. Cameron was just like, this is probably like one of my favorite classes I ever took. Like, he just like started like going like about like what the class meant to him, and I did not see that coming at all. I was like, wow, there was a lot going on in there, and I had no idea even at that point that, oh, I'm going to be friends with this guy. We're going to get to know each other. He's going to have my phone cell number at some point, and then we're going to be chatting it and saying, hey, what's up, and working on projects together. I had no clue of that. But artists are funny people that way, and some people, like him and I were talking about this the other day, just some people get themselves into situations to where it's like they're filled with envy or filled with just what's everyone else doing and what's this and this person's successful and that person's successful. And you really can't, there's nothing you can do about that. And that's the same thing goes with colleagues in teaching and things like that. If someone is I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, because there's a particular aspect to it, but you see it a lot with artists. You can be motivated and you can be driven without being envious or resentful. It is possible. And finding those people is what makes things great. So whenever I find people who are just like Cameron, it's gold, man. And I appreciate the hell out of that guy. So if you haven't, if you're not following his Instagram, hey, what's up, Shadowhawk Talks? How are you doing, man? I am so excited about Spring Ball. You guys have made me more excited about this stuff than, like, I'm more excited about comics. Well, that's a tough one. This is the problem with not having an internal monologue. You guys hear I have to talk my thoughts out. That's why I can talk and paint at the same time. It's because this is purely physical, man. But I didn't think I'd ever be excited about comic books in a way that wasn't tarnished by my frustrations at trying to break into the industry and then having opportunities in the industry when I've got two newborns. Like, the timing never worked out. And I always wanted to make comics in a way that was never going to happen. Ever. Where you get to do everything. Where you get to do the graphic design, the layout, and all of that stuff. And then the distribution through Diamond, which was a nightmare for independent creators. I never believed this was possible. I never could have imagined Comicsgate. I couldn't have imagined YouTube. Guys, I'm doing Bob Ross was the only artist I was going to ever be able to watch paint, or the Comic Book Great videos where they're showing the supplies they use. YouTube was not something I thought of, let alone watching YouTube on your phone or listening to it. You had to be Art Bell or Bob Ross, to get your stuff out there and talk about your work, or meet everybody you could at a convention. So it kind of was like it was a dream that was really, really tough for me to let go of. And what made it easier is the biggest dream of my life, which was having a family, and so it was easy for me to prioritize, even though no one ever asked me to. Let me be clear about that. And my wife is my biggest champion for this stuff. And if you don't know that, just read the intros to Nosfero. Every copy is going to have her intro until She changes it and I'm in the ground. But it's such a weird thing, because I think sometimes it's like when you're looking for the love of your life and you quit. You're just like, you know what? I'm done looking. They seem to appear, right? The right people and the right circumstances seem to present themselves when I'm not, like, I still work towards a goal. It's not just sitting around. But sometimes in the most remarkable way, they hit you. And it's Rocky is one of those examples. I've known that guy now for 57 years. That old man. Holy crap. Yeah, that goes for most people. Yeah. Oh, gosh, I got to catch up. Rocky, do you know this dirt guy? Yeah, he does. He does. Yep, 100%. Well, I feel and act younger than I am, at least. Mark, listen, you know how it goes, man. It's not the years, it's the mileage, and it's the experience and all of that stuff. So my best friend, by the way, I just want to say this, guys. So yeah, yesterday I was a bit out of it because my best friend in the world his wife had a little bit of a health scare, and he's my brother. He's my brother Nick, and love that dude. I don't know what I would do with that guy. Like without that guy. Like I was talking to him on the phone. He was coming home from the hospital to pick up some stuff to bring his wife that she wanted from home, right? And I'm talking to him and I go, dude, I am so thankful to have you as a friend, man. I'm so thankful to have you as a friend. And he goes, why are you saying this? He's that kind of guy. This dude has every ability except for the ability to take a compliment. We have that in common. And I looked at him and he goes, like, why? Like, give me an example. What do you mean? What do you mean that that you're so thankful for me? Like, this makes no sense to me. And because he wasn't like that bad, but he was like in that mix. And I go, okay, I'll give you a random example. What's up, Jeremy Birds? Hail, man. He goes, I'll give you a random example. I go, so as you guys know, we lost Val Kilmer. May he rest in peace. A couple of days ago, it feels like. And Val is just a very special actor. Val Kilmer is one of those actors who's entertained me his entire career. Love that dude. And I told my brother that, and I go, that's one of the reasons why I appreciate you. And he's like, because Val Kilmer died, like, that's a weird way to appreciate somebody. I said, no, because last year before Val Kilmer died, as a fun little surprise for me, Nick got me a little vinyl, what's it called? Garage model kit bust of Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday in Tombstone, to build and assemble and paint. And I'm going through my office trying to organize stuff so I can stream and get things together, and I found it and I just thought, man, I'm so lucky I've got good people around me, man. Like, how cool is that? And this dude is an incredible painter, an amazing artist. He's done science fiction. You guys know he did the colors on The Shadow, 1941, if you're a fan of that kind of stuff. And yeah, like he's just one of those guys, man. I like having those people around. I like having folks who are really cool. And it's weird because actually I think Cameron's in his early 40s now. The concept artist I was talking about, and Nick is 63, I think, now. And all that really matters is, like, we can all have conversations about the coolest, nerdiest stuff. And that stuff just fades away. It's just how people conduct themselves, man. It's really what it comes down to. What you see is what you get with Nick and Cameron. And that's the thing I tend to respond to the most. Not into the other stuff. The politics and all that other stuff doesn't do it for me. And believe me, in academia, when you can meet a faculty member who's not like that, that is a rare thing. But it's always going to be like that. You know how it goes, man. So thank you guys, by the way, for being here. 138 people watching, 41 likes. Thank you guys. Thomas Calamari, speaking to students. Hey, Shanth, before taking your classes, I did not enjoy painting at all. Man, I tell you what, I was the same way before I took the classes I took in Stealth Freeze, Now I can't see what my career would look like without it. I am so glad. Thomas, I was thinking about your stuff the other day, and because you were in the chat, and it's a wild thing because every teacher has a certain amount of time that they spend in, institutions, and certainly that's going to be limited for how long we live. So we all have a finite amount of time, and it was really great to get to teach you as a freshman, and that, inaugural sort of class that I was teaching, which was letting freshman students have an illustration class. So that's the cool thing about it, man. So I'm so glad to hear that. I love introducing people to painting, because contrary to what people might think, when they see this stuff, and I'm always quick to point this out, if you think I loved painting in color when I was even in my 20s, you're wrong. I was so terrified of color. I was so terrified of painting, and painting was something that people who went to different schools than me did. I mean, and I even knew painters in my high school in Chattanooga, and they were just, I'd watch them take out paint and do things, and I'd go, oh, well, that's something real artists can do, and that's kind of cool, like real artists who do, paintings and, I don't know, eat croissants. I don't know how it all works. But all I've got are comics, because, if you don't know how to paint, you don't understand color, it's terrifying. Just like if you don't, I don't know, just like any new experience you have, like swimming or something like that, you have a bad experience and sometimes it can set you back. And so people would just always give me lots of tubes of paint and say, have at it. And, I found a million different ways to mix ugly colors that were all the same. And so being able to learn from my mentor, Brian Stelfreeze, like how color works, and having it introduced to me in a much more simple way was a big breakthrough in my understanding of things. And now color is because it's the way I see everything. When I'm creating Springball, I start with color. I don't start with line as I used to do. And then when I go in and put the line, it's to give it this kind of kinetic texture. And so, yeah, I think that's what makes Springball so dynamic, so appealing, and so interesting to me when I'm working on it. It's different. And let me see here. Oh, my glasses are falling off. Sorry, guys. Oh, I just got some new glasses in the mail with a better prescription, so it's easier. Cindy Joe, Dapple Darling, YouTube. My taste runs Korean. They do, medieval romance, the best. But I really enjoy the quirky characters in CG. Yep, CG weeds out all the lesser works, causing a lot of powder. Yes, that's definitely true. I was watching a Korean television show. I believe it's called The Kingdom. Is that correct? And it was a zombie show. And it was one of the most entertaining and terrifying shows I've seen. And I like what they did with the lore, because it looked like they were taking elements of Guillermo del Toro's The Strain, mixing it with George Romero's zombie movies, of course, the basis for all of that. And I just thought that this is a really killer show. It was well acted and it was brilliantly done. Okay, so yep, Simply Green says. All right, cool. Yeah. Really brilliant stuff. And so, guys, Springball, which is going to be a completely new, reworked version of a comic book I did in 2002. Right here, you can see examples of the artwork and the trailer as well. The link is at the top of the description of this video. And then Nosfero is going to be funding for 2 more, less than 2 months before I close that campaign down. And this is the beautiful 8.5 by 11 fully painted book. The reproduction quality on this is fantastic. Like, if I hold it next to my paintings, you guys can see. That's how good the repro quality is on this book. If you haven't backed it, you will not regret it. We spared no expense on the printing of Nosfero. I used a book printer that prints books, that is used to dealing with traditional artwork. They know my colors now so well that they kind of go, I don't know, Shanth, this looks too dark. This doesn't look like how your paintings look. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so I always pay for an extra proof to make sure the colors. And by the way, it'll be the same with Springball. But make sure you back these books and you don't miss out on them, because they're really, really an interesting read. And they're fully independent books in that way. And that's what I like. That's the freedom I like, because I read, sorry about that, guys, didn't mean to hit the camera. I read the first comic book that I ever read and was aware I was reading, and I brought it home and my friend let me borrow it and I drew characters from it, was an independent comic, funny enough, from where I'm living, which I personally live in the heart of Lovecraft country. But that book was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by First Publishing. So the first Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird collected color Ninja Turtles book was the first book. And the funny thing about it is, what drew me to it was the one thing I couldn't do at the time, which was it had a painted cover, which is just crazy. Jeremy Burtz, man. I love seeing all of you guys, you channel members. Whenever I go and I make the credits and I post the names into the credits, because if you're a channel member on this channel, and by the way, guys, that's the best thing you guys can do. When you guys send super chats, it's fantastic. I always appreciate it. But when you gift memberships, it's so great, because it allows people to have a membership, and then they get notifications when I'm streaming, and it really, really helps the channel. So thank all of you guys for being members, and those of you guys who've gifted memberships. And there's custom emojis with it, and there's I do members only posts sometimes. I'm going to start doing another members only stream soon. I'm really looking forward to that. But you get your name in the credits. So at the end of every stream, there's a credits list of channel members. So in order of how long you've been a channel member, your name is on that list. So people who have been channel members now for a while, or are new members who have been here for a while, their name just starts gradually moving up that list, which is really cool to see. So I love doing that stuff. It's a little extra work before every stream, but it just makes it so much more fun. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, make sure you go for it. But well, we've got that out of the way. So tomorrow, April 9th, is the closeout for Shane Davis's Inglorious Rex 3. If you don't know Shane and Yanzi are two of the hardest working folks in Comicsgate. Built their own website to crowdfund on. You can also back it on Indiegogo if you're more comfortable there, or if you're like me and you're a little bit slow. But he does a comic book that's a cross between, God, how would I describe it? It's got elements of MMA fighting in it, but it's mainly MMA fighting to train kaiju with human pilots to fight against an external force of even bigger kaiju monsters, so to speak. And it follows the characters. It's really got a great adventurous and epic story. And every book, Shane's work has jumped in quality in terms of, and I don't mean, I want to be really clear about this. And yes, and Shane also does combat sports, but I've got to be really, really clear about this with it, because he was talking about this one of these nights. I can't remember. They're all blurring together. But that when you create a world, like whether it's Nosfero or SPRINGBALL, the first thing you're doing is you're just trying to figure out where things are and trying to draw characters with some level of consistency. But the more you got, I've got to absolutely do that. I do need to do a SPRINGBALL stress ball for me and for everyone else. What's up? Mighty Geek Studios got it. UFC meets Pacific Rim. There you go. That's a great pitch, man. And so the more he's drawn these characters, the more he's figured out how to show them. So when you go to draw Batman, if you're a comic book artist, you've got this history of Batman images, and then you can play with the character because you know the character so well. But when you, you know what's so funny? There's a sequence. I can't give that away. But yeah, you guys are going to learn when you get to issue 3, and you're going to get hints of like what he was built for, why he looks the way he does, why he has the powers he does. You're going to get hints to all that stuff, but then there's a situation that makes him stronger than he was supposed to be. It's really going to be interesting. But yeah, there's a sequence when I was sketching him out that actually involves that as an explanation for him. So it's going to be so cool, guys. The monsters I was doing a panel this morning, which was 5 a.m. after the stream I was on. And it was just, I was looking at it and I was going, I'm doing this really crazy, like underwater monster. I can say that much. It was crazy. It was crazy. Yes, you do. That's right, man. That's right. Oh God. Yeah. You got 2, man. Yeah. And it's, how do I word it? It's, I was so, like I look at people who do pen and ink artwork. And I can do pen and ink artwork, and I love doing that kind of stuff. But I think of everything in full color. Even, Dale Keown was talking about that on a stream, that even when he's doing black and white, he's picturing it in color. And that blew my mind because, I mean, you can tell when you look at his stuff that he's got a vision for it. But the thing is that for me, I have to put the color down. So if it's going to be color, separating it out, those stages has always just befuddled me. I can't. I don't know why. Like I didn't know that when I was young because I was just trying to draw the way everybody else drew. It was just such a breakthrough to me to realize that if I start out in color painting and pushing the media around, then I can see where the lines go, if that makes sense. And so It's the most playful, fun, cartoony, and balls to the wall spring ball artwork I've ever done, man. My display area is increasing in size quickly because of you guys. Hey, man, that is the fun thing about this stuff. I love books. I love books. I love physical media. I love movies. I've got tons of movies. As many of you have said before, I love Lamp. And so, yeah, like I just got in the mail, see here, the other day. I think I have it here. Or is it... Man, I've got so much stuff. Oh, just got in the mail the other day. KOR-DRATH by Andy Smith, who did the cover of Threshers, which is the comic I did that Shane Davis. I mean, this is weird, man. This is weird. I do love lamps. Yeah, Rocky's probably, he's seen my office. He's like, you love mess too. Godlike, which I have next to me, which is, of course, John Malin's. Who knew there was a Jodorowsky in there? That's really weird. I love it. Like, it was completely unexpected. And somewhere around here, I don't know exactly where I put it, but I had Shane Davis's Inglorious Rex 2. And where the heck is it? Huh. I thought I had it here somewhere, but who knows? Who knows where it went? There's a whole lot of stuff here. But it was it's really cool to be interested in comics. And what I loved about comics when I first started collecting is feeling like that the creators were people who were 100% passionate about comics, and they were making books for the audience. So when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had a new issue out, and suddenly they're in space fighting gladiator triceratops, that's the stuff that was exciting to me. The fact that the first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was printed almost 8.5 by 11, and that the reprints of it were all 8.5 by 11, for your bookshelf books, was an inspiration for me doing Springball at that size, doing Nosfero at that size, then Springball at that size, because it was the size that Ninja Turtles and Rocketeer were collected at. And so now I'm kind of just formatting things so that you're seeing my art in a much larger scale. So both these books are 8.5 by 11 inches wide, so they're you really can see the detail. And Springball has never been printed at that scale, and it's been completely reformatted to be 8.5 by 11. There are panels that weren't there before. All of the artwork has been reworked. And for those of you guys who've been asking me about, getting copies of Book 1, Book 2, or the preview issue we sold at cons, we had some of those for a while. We had them since 2002. But, when we printed them initially. But sometime since we've had this house, I can't remember when it was, there was a massive floods in our areas, and our basement flooded, and we lost all of our book ones that had been put aside, and we lost all of our preview issues. They all got destroyed. So the only copies that we have they're few and far between, and they're issue 2s. So if you find an issue 1 or a preview issue out there for a couple of bucks, pick it up, because there aren't going to be any more. We don't have any more. And they're already going up in price. So yeah, make sure you get those if you have not gotten them yet. And by the way, for whatever you think about how hard those are to find, this Comicsgate first printing of Springball is going to have a lower print run. There's no way it's going to not have a lower print run, because we printed up a couple thousand Springball copies. And this book, I've got, what am I at now? How many backers am I at now? But it can't be more than 300 copies, or 280 copies at this point. So it's the first. This is, for all intents and purposes, it's a new book. It's not a second printing. It's a first printing of this completely new, cohesive, awesome story for Springball. I would never have come back to this character, man. I've been collecting a bunch of those recently. Headless Bourgeoisie. It's a great format. Oh, wait. Let me see what was the format. Oh, I like 8.5 by 11 a lot. The old school Marvel graph. That's what I was thinking about. That's 100%. They were everywhere. They were in Walden Books and all that stuff. For those of you guys who know your Walden Books stories, yeah, it's a great size. And it's great to... I'm a careless collector, so am I. Rocky, you know. Rocky's been to my studio space. It was so cool, man. It was so cool. We got to have certain members of the family who have not met before meet when Rocky was out here, if you saw that stream, and laugh at how dorky we were. It was wonderful. it was a wonderful thing, you know. Yeah, I've always told people that if it wasn't for my better half, if it wasn't for Mrs. Enjetti, and if it wasn't for my brother Rocky, there would be no evidence I ever lived. They were the only people I know who took photos of me and saved them, because I was always just running around. Rocky was always documenting everything, and Mrs. Enjetti was always making sure that there were photos. It's too funny. I'm not great at that. I'm just doing things all the time, man. I'm just painting and drawing and being a Looney Tune. Let me see there. Which, by the way, those early Looney Tunes are works of art too. Those are amazing. But just getting that kind of line feathering that I want to get, you know, when you look at Nosfero and you get it, I have to make sure. So let this focus for a bit. I have to make sure that you're going to be getting that kind of quality, you know, and that's like just to give you a sense of the scale. Look at my paint colored thumb. That's how detailed it gets. So it really is about trying to create this immaculate reality, whether it's with Springball or with this, and that's why I always appreciated Mr. Monkey Boy 19. I'm a careless whisper. There you go. Oh, you guys are too funny. Have you and Kenneth Rokerford ever collaborated? I've been on streams with Kenneth, and I think I have one or two of his books, his Groken books, but I haven't collaborated with him before. But yeah, he's another painter in this space. He does painting and digital stuff too. Actually, now that I think about it, I wasn't doing painted stuff before, but yeah, he's got a really cool, like playful, crazy colored style. Love that stuff, man. Very, very cool. Yeah, it's a weird. I mean, guys, if I had known that, you know, and granted, still there's a lot of artists who won't ever do that, but do this. But if I had known that there would be a time when you could watch artists do their entire process. And if you go back and look at these streams, you can actually see me working on just pages of Nosfero. There's only a couple I didn't do on stream, which were those last couple of pages, because I didn't want, you know, to show the end of the story. But you can watch the creation, you can watch the conversations, you can watch all of the things that have led to where we are right now. And the same thing goes for my Instagram. If you go back on my Instagram, that thing started in, I don't know, 2000... I don't know, actually. Was it 15 or 16 or whenever that was? And you can actually track, you know, in 2018, I think I posted my first Comicsgate artwork of a Comicsgate character, which I think was Red Rooster. If anybody remembers back that far. So, yeah, you can watch all of this stuff happening, man. It's a trip. So at least that is some kind of weird documentation. And yeah, the YouTube channel is crazy. You can go back to those early streams and watch the... if you think it's bad now, it was worse then. That's for sure. So yeah, guys, if you have not backed Inglorious Rex, you have tonight and tomorrow. And then it's going to be a hard line in the sand. You have missed the book for this... Hearing your family, it's not too late to go into dentistry nowadays. You can put the teeth in a horse. Yes, absolutely right. Yeah, that 100%. Yeah, that 100% is how it works, man. But it's yeah, make sure you back Inglorious Rex if you have not yet. I'm really excited for that closeout stream because it's a celebration. Shane is almost to $300,000 raised for Inglorious Rex 3. There are so many covers to choose from. There's so much cool stuff that he's doing in that book. And if you just love being transported and by beautiful work and a beautiful story, Shane and Yanzi are getting it done. Just doing some incredible work at Nine Lives Comics. So make sure you check it out. You know, it's just, oh gosh, are we talking about country fried steak? Your depraved love for chicken fried steak with white sawmill gravy, 100%. Yep. Oh, can we watch your infamous pound cake episode? That's right. For the closeout stream. Oh, that was so much fun, man. Holy cow. Yeah, trying to raise money for that book, man. And I remember making Gary Martin laugh his head off. And you know what was funny is, and kind of wild about that stream is, that was streamed from my wife's childhood home when we were there because her mom was moving out, so we were helping her go through things. So that was a wild night and a crazy stream. But yeah, there's always fun stuff happening. You know, it's a convention that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you might just meet some people who are kindred spirits and artists, and you know, you're going to meet a lot of other things too, but you will, you know, you have that opportunity. Like with everything, You know, every time I pick up a brush or pick up a painting or, you know, try something, I never know where it's going to go, and that's part of the adventure. And when it goes somewhere good, it makes it all the more exciting for it, you know. And I've definitely been, I've had to take a little bit of a knee following the launch of Springball. I was really bowled over and overwhelmed, and I know you guys know this, and I know I've talked about it a lot on stream, and I don't care. I was telling somebody, it's like, if you're positive and you're enthusiastic about things, and guys, it's not for lack of seeing horror. So don't give yourself the luxury of thinking that's the case. That's just being decadent, you know. But the gratitude thing in me runs deep, and you know, when I'm meeting my wife's friends and stuff like that at work, they always ask the question, "Is he always like this?" And it's like, no, I have bad days every now and again. But she's like, "Yeah, he's always like this. He's a morning person. He's a night person. He works his ass off. He really cares about people, and he works hard. And you know, what you see is what you get." But I was completely and Mrs. Enjetti would agree with me on this. I was completely humbled by the fact that that John Malin offered on short notice. He was just like, "Do you want me to launch Springball?" And then he dedicated 8 hours of his valuable time to giving that book a good launch because he wanted to see it be successful. And that's something he's just doing for somebody else. He's not getting a cut of that money. You know what I mean? It's not like he's been he's seen that all good deeds go rewarded. You know, it's not because of that. And some people just have that need to, you know, help people and support people, and you just can't get rid of that. And I was really humbled by that. I was grateful for it. I was appreciative of it. And then when I was asking Mrs. Enjetti about it the next day, she goes, "That was the most amazing thing about that night. It was a crazy big launch. It's going to help our family. The more you guys back it, the better these books do. The better it's going to be for you know, us and for our ability to continue to do that." But she said the thing that affected her the most was just seeing all of the people who turned out for that stream and gave their time to be there and to promote Springball, and everybody who, you know, reposts anything I post about Springball or Nosfero or any of that stuff is great, and every backer is incredible, and we're just trying to think about more things we can do to put cool stuff in front of you guys. And I've got, you know, some really great people around who yeah, Rocky, see, that's another great thing about this. I can attest, he's always like this. Yeah, man. And it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing because I think that you know, caring about art when you don't even know it's a thing is strange. You know, like I was drawing and I didn't know that it was like, I was like, well, I guess I'll go do something for a career, and I also draw. It would have never occurred to me to do something with this. And yeah, it was other people who kind of were like, you should kind of probably do something with this, which is amazing. But it's overwhelming sometimes because it's you get to share cool stuff with people who love and appreciate it. What could be better than that, you know? So yeah, draw a conclusion. I know. I'm sorry. I know. I really should. It's like I gotta wrap it up. They gotta pay play the Academy Awards music for speeches going on so long. So, and it's, you know, God, man, I tell you what, I've had so many friends introduce me to books that have made me broke. I guess that's the way to segue it, and I'm grateful to them for that. No matter how crazy it is. Yeah, that's right. How much genuine nice guy stock can you get from Shanth and Rocky? That's right. Gotta be a fun group to be around. Yeah, you guys saw us when I had seen Rock in person in over a decade, in over 14 years, easily. And you guys got to see us, and it was like no time passed. It was just, that's how we've been for 30 years. On the phone when I've got, like, you know, twin newborns, you know, 20 years ago. And I'm having these conversations and you know, going out and helping him decorate for his kid's birthday party. It's just awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome for you to say, Mark's Music Obsession. Yeah, we appreciate that, man, because, you know, and that's why I like to talk about when the cool aspects of interactions you have with people that not everybody sees, that people should know about, you know, the good stuff that, you know, you have. And it's really grateful for a lot of the people that you know, I've had in my life now for decades who are, who just bring a lot of positivity into my life. It's pretty damn cool. And man, am I grateful for Comicsgate. I can't even tell you. It was, I can't even, I could not have dreamed this up, man. When I was, you know, that there'd be YouTube and people going, hey, here's some advice. Here's how you could do this and things like that. And, you know, you need to make sure you do this and that. And, you know, try this. I mean, it's wild, man. It's great. Whew, Lordy B, man. Lordy B. 14. Yeah, it had been a minute. Yeah, I mean, it's cool because with the advent of this stuff, you know, we've been able to see each other, do video calls and things like that. But guys, if you have not checked out Rocky's YouTube channel, you know, don't make me say it again. He's a mod. He can post the link in the chat. Check out his YouTube channel because it is awesome. It is an awesome channel. So let me see if I can do this. I doubt I can because, yeah, I'm me. But let's take a look and see. Let's see what we can see. Let's see what we can see here. Holy cow, look at that. All right, so let me see if I can do this here because I haven't done this in a minute and I don't know if it's going to work. But we'll try it and see if it works here. Turn that off. Turn that off. Right there. There we go, guys. Here it is, Nosfero, the Crypt Walker. If you have not backed this book, for heaven's sake, do it. You will love it. You will enjoy it. It will be a joy in your life. There are 2 editions of this book. There's the Nosfero. So, God, geez, what is that? Stop. What the heck? Okay, that was a little scary. Let's not do that again. My God, that was scary. So here you go, guys. So there's the 2 editions of Nosfero, the Crypt Walker. Hopefully everybody's all right. There is the art edition and there is the oxidized edition or second printing. Those are the 2 different covers there. The art edition is going to be a wordless edition of the book. So you're going to be able to get, Boomer Shanth, 100%, Rock. You have no idea. So if you want to get the book where it's just the paintings and there's no text on it, you can get the art edition of the book. And so I'm probably not going to print this again because, you know, it's a very like limited book. It's a niche kind of book. And so if you missed it, or if you miss it here, you're probably not going to be able to get it again. So make sure you pick up that art edition of the book. In addition to that, there's the oxidized edition, which is going to have a new logo design, new bonus features in it. And that's going to have the words of the book, and it's going to be the same price as it was, with a couple of things I caught that I wanted to fix, where there was like a little typo here and there, and then, you know, a few other things I'm going to fix. But it's the same book, so it's going to have just a few minor changes, and then all new bonus materials, a new front piece, which is the painting I'm working on today, and it's going to have, it won't be signed like the other books. So the first printings all get signed, but if you want a first printing signed and you missed it the first time around, you can get the first printing of Nosfero right there for $75. 21 out of 100 claimed. That's how many we have left. So if you want to make sure you get that first edition, there it is for $75. So those are the stretch goals, and here's the artwork to give you a sense of the book. There's also the trailer on there. If you want to get the head sketch, there's 2 out of 100 of those claimed. So if you want to get that tier right there, there is 98 of those left. There's 1 out of 10 claimed on the painted head sketch. So if you want to grab yourself a painted head sketch, it's essentially a painting. So you say to me, I want Frankenstein's monster, I want Nosfero. I've had someone ask me for a Krampus before, or a painting of Laurel as well, that you can go and you can commission me to do a painting, and it's a painting. I mean, it's me sitting down doing a whatever the size is, I think it's 8x10 portrait painting. So make sure... oh, is it still doing it? Let me just make sure. No, it's not doing it. Thank God. I was a little worried. So yeah, Bride of Frankenstein as Lloyd experienced, which is a great one. And then here's the one that is 7 out of 10 claim. There's 3 of these left. $425. That is the Crypt Treasure Trove. That is every art book I ever did, starting in They're coming to get me, folks. There you go. So every art book I've ever done, art books 1 and 2, these are the last copies of book 2. I only have enough to fill these 10. every copy of Nosfero in every single one of these books, if I'm not mistaken, will get all the first printings, of which that's all of them but one, will have an inked head sketch. They'll all be autographed, and they'll all have an interior inked head sketch. So you will be getting 1, 2, 3, 4 inked head sketches with this in the front page of the book, where it's got this signatory page. So yeah, make sure you grab that if you have not grabbed it. So check those perks out, and then let me go to Springball. Let me see if this comes up. And here's Springball, guys. We're at 292 backers now with 14 days left in the first 30 days. God, that's crazy. $17,195. It's an 8.5 by 11 book. It's going to have the 22 page completely redone, rescripted, awesome first issue. This is when you jump in. This is that first printing of the book. And Mark knows. He's got that treasure trove coming, man. He's got that treasure trove coming. And so it's got, it's going to be that. And then I actually had not gone through my archives when I was planning out that there were going to be an additional 20 pages of bonus material in addition to the other stuff that goes in comics. Like the little intros and things like that. So that 20 pages is in addition to that. It's not a part of that. And man, did I find a treasure trove on stream of Springball stuff going back to my first sequential storytelling of Springball. I have some of those pages that I remember Dave Stevens looked at and gave me some positive reviews on and feedback on. So all of this stuff, there's going to be so many cool things that are never going to be seen, again, or have not been seen. So the book came out 23 years ago. The stuff that you're going to have in this copy, some of it's never been seen unless you know me. So it's going to be really fun to see. And yeah, this cover was another one of those things where I was like, okay, I know what this book is. When I did this cover, I'm so excited about it. So yeah, so there you go, 8.5 by 11 inches. So when you see this double page spread, it's going to be awesome. It's going to just be a sight to behold. And all of this artwork, it's going to be like a more oversized prestige edition. It's going to be really cool. Yeah, got to get those add-ons. Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate it, brother. Look at you appearing on screen there. Got to see the whole control panel. And so yeah, I cannot wait for that, man. Yeah, I haven't even seen this stuff. That's what it felt like. But yeah, beautifully remastered, reformatted to be 8.5 by 11. You can get Springball number 1, the deluxe edition. That's going to be signed. 109 of those are sold. Then you've got Springball with the print of that single page spread. Those will both be signed. 16 of those claimed. That's $35. Then you're going to have this right here, which is if you want to get 2 copies of Springball, 1 to read, 1 to pack away, that's $50. So a little bit of a discount there. And 3 of those are claimed. And then there's the head sketch tier. So if you want me to do an inked head sketch of Springball in your book, right there for $85, you can get that. You can get yourself an inked Springball head sketch. And then unfortunately, this is sold out. The Springball and then the original 2002 vintage editions of Springball number 2, which is going to be the next book. All 150 of those sold out, I think, in like 24 hours. So you guys were amazing on that. So those all went incredibly quick. So yeah, guys, check out Springball and check out Nosfero. They are complete. They're amazing. They're a miracle that they exist, and I'm blown away by the fact that we're doing the stuff that we're doing here in Comicsgate, and that I'm able to create this sort of super horror genre that I'm excited about. Yeah, head sketch, baby. Oh, Rock, I'm gonna have to go nuts on that head sketch. So for those of you guys who don't know, Rocky hasn't seen this in years, but Rocky sent me this when I think I was doing Nosfero. He can correct me if I'm wrong, or when I was doing the Second Chance campaign. I'm not sure. But every time Rocky's drawn Springball or any of the other characters in this world, I've saved it. So this is from 2014. So this is from 11 years ago. God almighty, it's unbelievable. And this is a sketch he sent me in the mail of the frog monster in this book. So take a look at that. How cool is that to see Rocky? This is what we did. We sent each other ink sketches back and forth, and that's how we kind of do things over time. But I am so freaking excited. It's really cool to be sharing this process with all of you guys. And thank you, Comicsgate, for making it happen. That is the extent of my Springball head sketch. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a... Yeah, it's weird. I'm going to have to ask you about your head sketch when I go to do that, because I'm curious what you want it to be, because I feel like we've known each other for 30 years. I should probably make it something you like. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, guys, it's been incredible to watch this stuff happen and to see, Springball and Nosfero. I mean, the second printing of Nosfero is at 15K right now. And I do think the more I'm streaming and the more people see both campaigns, the more they're going to sort of see those things together. But yeah, it's seeing Springball take off like a rocket and having Nosfero have, the first the initial release of Nosfero was like 660 backers. It still blows my mind. So yeah, that's a good idea. That's an interesting idea. Maybe I should do some sketch cards. Yeah, that could be cool. I got to do my own though. I'm not selling those. I'm not getting rid of Rockies. That's a great idea for a tier, man. I hadn't even thought of that. Mark will buy 50. That's right, man. Mark has definitely done his bit for King and Country when it comes to Shanth Enjeti art, man. So yeah, hail Mark, and I cannot wait for you to get Nosfero, Mark. It's gonna be really fun because I know you've been waiting for it since the first campaign closed. So yeah, we're gonna do some great stuff. Yeah. Oh, so you can't do head sketches either, Rocky? Both overachievers. That's right. Yeah, we can both do head sketches for some reason. Rocky does some killer head sketches. So yeah, Rocky's stuff is really cool, and I'm just looking forward to what comes next. If you're not subscribed to his channel, make sure you guys do check it out, guys. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing, guys. I've been just I'm gonna try to keep getting on things because I think getting the Nosfero Second Chance campaign together, getting my kids ready to go off, and then getting Springball together to launch. I've been a little bit like a duck hit on the head, as we say, and it feels good to be kind of getting back into the groove of things, and I'm happiest when I'm working, and I'm happiest when I'm putting things together for you guys. And I think Springball was just kind of a missing piece of the puzzle and a missing piece of the comic book story in terms of what I do. But I never before now had an idea of how I was going to go about, if I ever would bring this character back and how I would do it, because there had to be a reason why I wanted to do it, in terms of it had to be something I could show you guys and say, hey, this is going to be awesome. Check this out. So yeah, absolutely. I'll do a head sketch proceeds, create the creation of Adam. There you go. See? There it is. You guys know. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mark's Music Obsession. I'm looking forward to you getting Nosfero, man. So yeah, again, guys, if you want a full color, crazy, balls to the wall, off the wall, Max Fleischer's Superman meets, Superman Metropolis meets H.P. Lovecraft's Innsmouth meets Lovecraft and My Providence. And if you want a story that's like Steve Ditko and Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man mashed into Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, and a little bit of Ash, you're going to love it, man. It's going to be so cool. Yeah, Springball had to happen. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, guys, this is one of those cases where you guys willed it to happen. The fans brought this character back, gave him a second chance at life. And when I talk about... They're coming for me. They're going to try to stop Springball. When we talk about... Aldous is watching Fleischer on Wednesdays. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, those Superman books are awesome, man. Our Superman cartoons are awesome. The first Springball story I did, which you'll see this, was inspired by the Mechanical Monsters. So yeah, I dig that stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, it's people willed Springball to happen, and it's the Ditko McFarlane Spider-Man meets the Ash from Evil Dead, kind of character dynamic, but it's its own thing. I had to get to this point before I could do it. Yep, it's the coppers. I had to get to this point before I could do it, guys. So I thank you for backing, Nosfero and backing Springball, and for continuing to check out these streams and watching me work, guys. It's been a wild ride, and I'm really grateful for all of it. So make sure you guys do check out Inglorious Rex 3, which is closing tomorrow. You can get all of the Inglorious Rex books if you've missed them. There's also, I've got links to a ton of independent creators in the chat. So make sure you check out Bosch, Faustin's Pigman. Make sure you check out Cecil Jones, the man, the mystery, and his Cash Grab, which if you haven't checked out Cash Grab yet, do check it out, Cash Grab 2. I think his show is going to be firing up, or has fired up in a little bit, and you can go check that out. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you feel the need to become a channel member, make sure you do. I'd be happy to have you. And thank you guys for checking out this stream. So let me wrap up by saying this, as I always start and as I always end, from the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty. My name is Shanth Enjeti. You've been watching Shanth Enjeti Art. Speak easy, stay gold, keep the faith, and peace be with you guys. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. I'll buy a book as soon as I can. Amazing Pig. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Brand new color. And it's great to have you here. Thank you so much, Cranberry Langers. Thank you, Rocky Ballesteros. An awesome one. It is great to see you guys here in the chat. Thank you, Mark's Music Obsession, for all of your support, and all of my channel members. I appreciate you guys so much. Check out your names in the credits, and go check out a fine Comic Skate stream somewhere. There are so many great Comic Skate books listed in the independent creators. You want to support them, that's in the description here. So make sure you check those things out, guys. Take care, William. Be seeing you, my friend. I hope you're having a good one, man. Thank you, Headless Bourgeoisie. Thank you for being a channel member. Thank you, Jeremy Burst, for being a channel member. Make sure I have everybody. Bye, says Rocky Ballesteros. Take care, brother. I will see all of you guys soon. And without further ado, here are the credits, guys. Take care, and I will see you very, very soon.